Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good day to all of you. I wish that everybody are doing well and very healthy. Okay, so for today, we are planning to have a lecture on the strategic analysis. So first, we will look at the global industry, global aerospace industry, and then we will also look at the local gap, where we are in the internationally, and then we will see where are the gaps for our local Malaysian aerospace industry. To continue with our lecture on the management of aerospace industry, we have already looked at the definition of aerospace industry in the world. At the same time, the definition used by the Malaysian aerospace industry to develop the industry from 1997 until now, until today. And we also already looked at the implementation of the first National Aerospace Blueprint and the initiative that being conducted and the impact to the aerospace industry in Malaysia in particular. At the same time, we have already looked into the definition, the areas, the focus areas that involve in the Malaysian aerospace industry. So there are four main focus area, namely the maintenance, repair, overhaul. We have the aerospace manufacturing. We have the system integration and the education and training. This is for the first phase of the National Aerospace Blueprint 1997 until 2015. And then from 2015 onwards until 2030, the engineering and design subsector has been officially announced, meaning that we are now having 5 subcategory or subsector for the aerospace industry in Malaysia. So for today, we are going to look at two aspects of strategic analysis. The first one is to look at the global market, and then we will look at the local gap. By knowing where we are in the international level, then we can then identify what are the lacking, what are the things that need to be improved for our local aerospace industry. To look into the matters, of course, there are many reports produced by the OEMs, namely Airbus, Boeing, and you can easily find the report yearly produced by the OEMs. At the same time, there are also reports produced by consultants. There are so many. We have PwC, we have Deloitte, we have McKinsey, and so on. So you can always download and read through in terms of what is the current global market for the aerospace industry in the world. So looking into this strategic analysis, what we are going to do, basically, we will look into the activities, the current status of the aerospace subsector. So looking into the growing world air traffic, of course, this is before the COVID-19 situation, right? So there are many airlines buying new aircraft. So growing world air traffic, this is the time before the pandemic. So large aircraft orders by airlines as well as backlog faced by the primes, the aircraft manufacturer. So indicate the industry long-term growth potential and strength. All right. So if you can see here the comparison between Boeing and Airbus, this, as I said, note that it is before the pandemic situation. After the pandemic situation is slightly different. Okay. So the darker green shows the Boeing orders, okay, and then the lighter green showing the Airbus aircraft orders. And as we can see here, the backlog are so many, many backlog being there, meaning that it shows a signal that there is a positive increase in the revenue for each company, more works or job being offered for the aerospace industry. All right. Of course, due to the pandemic, there are many cancellation, but now the industry are coming back to its pace. And if we look at the Southeast Asia players such as AirAsia as well as Lion Air, okay, where normally AirAsia they buy Airbus aircraft A320, right? And then of course Lion Air they normally buy their Boeing aircraft 737 as their fleet, right? So you can see here AirAsia order as well as delivery is we order a lot. AirAsia ordered a lot. It being delivered is I think about 1/3 of the order. Similarly happened to Lion Air. So the activities of more aircraft needed, more aircraft going into the aerospace industry, the aviation industry, world air traffic growing means that the activity for maintenance, repair and overhaul also increasing, right? And if we can see here, looking at the two type of aircraft that is the most popular for low cost carrier, AirAsia and Lion Air, they bought narrow body. They bought narrow body that meaning that it has impact on the activities of an MRO for narrow body operation that will generate a vibrant MRO industry in the Southeast Asia region. Okay, more and more MRO with regards to narrow body is being implemented, is being introduced. So more and more aircraft need to be repaired. And then at the same time, in terms of aerospace manufacturing, the order backlog is expected to increase offloading of aerostructure manufacturing activity into the region. So more and more work packages related to aerospace manufacturing will be increasing in the region, especially in Malaysia. Looking at the report here, by 2031, this is a source by ICF SHNE. Okay, you can Google ICF International website. So it stated that in Asia Pacific alone, it will be the biggest airline market in the world. Okay, so more and more aircraft will be bought, order will be made by airlines, especially in Southeast Asia. Okay, and it receiving nearly 1/3 of all new jet deliveries. So very popular in the Asia Pacific region. So that resulted in a good MRO businesses. As we can see here, Asia Pacific MRO spend. So once you buy aircraft, airline buying aircraft, they have to maintain the aircraft. Okay, it is forecasted to grow at 5.3%. Okay, CAGR. Okay, above the global average of 3.9%. Right? So it is more. It is Asia Pacific is 5.3. Cumulative average growth rate above the global average. Global world average is around 3.9%. So which is driven by strong growth of the fleet in the last decade. All right. So you can see here different type of maintenance being done, engine maintenance, component maintenance, line maintenance, and heavy maintenance. This is a Asia Pacific MRO spend in 2013 data, and the data is about the same, but the value probably more in term of the US, in term of billions of dollars. In term of the global MRO demand, in 2014, we can see here Asia Pacific dominated. So even we have North America 31%, Asia Pacific is 27%, and followed by Europe and the rest of the world. Okay, so Asia Pacific markets are dominated by the engine and component MRO as being displayed in this particular figure, and airlines tend to keep line and heavy maintenance MRO work in-house. That's where you can see that companies like Emirates, company like Singapore Airlines, the other type of British Airways, for example, they do their maintenance by themselves. Okay, so third-party MRO are not involved or probably having less contract for the line and heavy maintenance job. Okay. Looking into the Southeast Asia region, right? So we can see here clearly that there are many players. We have from our neighboring countries like Thailand, we have Cambodia, we have Vietnam, Philippines, we have Brunei, Indonesia, of course Singapore and Malaysia. So many players in the region that are focusing into specific areas. As we have already gone through the types of activities involved for MRO, namely airframe maintenance, we have component maintenance, engine maintenance, we also have other type of activities related to maintenance. So these are the players. We can see here, the two major players are in Southeast Asia region are Malaysia and Singapore. And Malaysia is now number 2. This is the data in 2015. So it is number 2. And currently 2021, the latest data from NICO, National Aerospace Industry Coordinating Office, also mentioned that Malaysia is just behind Singapore in terms of doing maintenance. Our MRO activities are getting more and more. So we are probably having, we can surpass Singapore by 2030, hopefully. And currently, in terms of the market capture, Malaysia already captured 21% of the Southeast Asia market, right? 21% for the Southeast Asia market compared to the neighboring countries. In terms of man hours for single aisles are projected to exceed wide bodies by 2023. And more narrow body aircraft or single aisle being maintained in the region, especially in Malaysia. And at the same time, low-cost carriers now account for more than half of the capacity in Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. All right. So if you would like to go into MRO activities, if you would like to work within the region, there are so many players. There are also players in other regions, such as in the Middle East, in Europe, and other continents. Looking into the demand, although the demand is growing as the nation acquire new asset, Malaysia, of course, as a developing countries, we are spending more on our military assets. Not just talking about Air Force, there are other government agencies also having assets related to aerospace. So, for example, like defense, enforcement, security agencies. So, which we know that military MRO is still strictly limited to local market. There are cases like Aerod also providing services to military organization from other countries. So if we can see here, the country now own 270 aircraft. Okay, we have of course we have aging aircraft. We also have already starting to buy new assets for our military, and we spend more than 500 million annually. You probably would like to know. Maybe you can see the recent budget being presented by the Minister of Finance in terms of what is the budget for military in terms of maintaining our assets. I think it's more than nearly 1 billion ringgit now. This is a data 2015, and we can see that we spend every year 500 million annually on MRO and spares. The most expensive part is to have spares. So the government is an important driver of military MRO sector. Okay, we have a few major players looking into the MRO activities for the military asset. Okay, and since Malaysia is not among the leading 20 national military aircraft MRO market, new ASEAN market has to be aggressively explored. All right. So, of course, we can have activities, for example, servicing our neighboring countries' military asset in Southeast Asia. All right. Okay, we move on to aerospace manufacturing. Aero manufacturing, as we have already known in our previous lecture, the aerospace manufacturing is getting bigger and bigger. So it's already surpassing MRO activities. Okay, based on the backlog faced by the primes, when I say prime, meaning that the aircraft manufacturer, the aero manufacturing market is looking positive with high growth potential. If we look here, the manufacturing market share in 2013, right? Singapore having the most, about 1 billion US dollar, and followed by Malaysia, and then we have Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines, right? So currently Malaysia holds second largest market share for aero manufacturing in Southeast Asia, right after Singapore. And then this is due to the fact that we only have a handful of what we call it as the net cap certified companies. There are secondary processes that need to be conducted, and the companies required to have the what we call it as a net cap certification. There are only 14 net cap certified companies in Malaysia compared to in Singapore, for example. So this is related to chemical processing, NDT, as well as certified for heat treatment. Okay, what will happen basically if there aren't any net cap certified company in Malaysia, the manufacturing company, the aero manufacturing companies has to outsource it outside Malaysia, and that will result in a higher cost for producing the component. All right. Looking into the landscape of the players, okay, of course, not every country in Southeast Asia involved, only a few countries. So ability to cope with the prime's demand as well as remain competitive in terms of quality, cost, and delivery. And these are the three main factors whenever you want to consider looking into the business of aero manufacturing, will be the main agenda to compete in the region. All right. So we can see here that not that many players. For example, like the OEM, the first tier, second tier, third tier, and the fourth tier companies, when they want to invest in the Southeast Asia, they really have to look into the ecosystem, whether the country that they have chosen having the right human capital, the right skills, the right number. At the same time, what are the supporting infrastructure provided by the government? And then, of course, the incentive like tax exemption. They have there's so many other incentive being provided to attract the foreign players. Okay, and what we can see here is that we need more capacity for detailed parts manufacturing to cater for increased aircraft production rate. And we also need strong supporting industries. For example, like when you have aerospace manufacturing, you want to make sure that the raw material supplier normally it doesn't come cheap, and it is in aerospace, it requires strict or stringent requirements, and we cannot just simply order through online, like we ordered our things in through Lazada, Shopee, and other online platform. Because the material suppliers also subjected to be audited by the primes. So it also need to have certain certification. It's not just simply buy from any shops. Okay, and aircraft AGS stockists. Okay, and then secondary processes, shared facility. These are the things that probably need to be implemented in the country in order to enhance the activities related to aero manufacturing. All right. In terms of the next major program, okay, Malaysia must participate in all new single aisle aircraft from Airbus as well as and Boeing, because as we already concluded in our previous lecture, what need to be done? Of course, we would like to involve in the early development of aircraft aircraft program, not just at the tail end of aircraft program. Okay, previously, okay, I think I have already highlighted this. Malaysia participated in international aircraft development program, for example, like the A400M, the military cargo aircraft, and secured several design and build work packages for aircraft such as A380 and A350 for Airbus. Boeing also projected a total of 24,670 aircraft to be delivered over the next 20 years. So you may want to update this number. If we look at the recent aircraft projection, probably it is more or less about around 20,000 aircraft because of the many cancellation by the airlines nowadays. So mainly these orders are coming from operators around Asia Pacific region. Okay, and of course Malaysian players, Malaysian aerospace manufacturing players must prepare themselves to be part of this lucrative high production rate aircraft program. The reason why Malaysia are interested more in aerospace manufacturing because of the value, and the value, if we get involved in early developmental program, and then for sure we will be in the league for producing the aircraft component, producing the aircraft design and modification throughout the lifespan of the aircraft. As I have already shown you before, the lifespan of aircraft cycle is more than 30 years, 30 to 50 years for a good design of aircraft. So if we miss any new developmental or new program to build new aircraft, meaning that we are going to be left behind. All right. So who's responsible to do this? This is a initiative of a collaborative initiative between the government through the ministries as well as the players. The players has to equip themselves. The government has to be quick and have to provide many incentives to attract the developmental program for aerospace or new aircraft system to be developed in-house in Malaysia. All right. Looking into the third subsector, which is the engineering and design. All right. So this new focus area will contribute not only to growth of aerospace revenue, right? So we target to have more project to come into Malaysia, but also Malaysia's intent to be involved in higher value upstream activities of aircraft life cycle, right? So as we have already introduced previously under the NKEA Business Services, EPP number 5, the engineering and design services is projected to contribute 1.8 billion ringgit in the gross national income, the GNI, by 2030. Okay, this is the projection where we are. Is it true that by 2021 we already have 1.4 billion? Which is not true. This is projection. So we may need to find out what is the true value. Okay, these are the true value: 1.7, okay, to 3.5, 11.7, and 11.8. This is million ringgit. It's not in billion. So we are moving forward. We would like to have more and more contract outsourced to Malaysia. In terms of the focus, we focus to grow engineering and design players to a critical mass. We need more engineers, and to create around 9,200 jobs opportunities by 2030. And the recent Airbus investment on its customer services center will also accelerate engineering and design growth. So hope that everything will be in our way for the Malaysian aerospace industry. Looking into the players, there are not that many players having capabilities to do engineering design in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. So, but we can say that we can be proud that we are well ahead in the region. We are already surpassing Singapore. Of course, if we look here, the capabilities, Singapore have all the capabilities, but actually in terms of number of contracts, we have more contracts compared to what Singapore have. eh. But we have to build in term of the capability, in term of design, conceptual design. Our engineers need to get involved. We have also detailed design activities, analysis and certification, manufacturing, design and in service. So these are the capabilities, okay, being stated for the engineering and design. So looking at the market value for engineering and design services of new single aisle program is estimated around 100 billion US dollar. Okay, huge in service engineering design market also expected because of the MRO sector grow across Southeast Asia region. So what we mean by in service, meaning that probably some of the aircraft or system need to be upgraded. So that will involve engineering and design activities. Okay, so looking into system integration, the next subsector. Okay, so unlike other focus area, the system integration have very small commercial bearing. So that's why we don't put any value for target, because of its strategic nature. So the key word here is self-reliance. We want Malaysia to be self-reliant. We are developing our own technology. We develop our own people to do the system integration activities. So Malaysia will continue system integration activities based on the following strategic reason. There are 4 reasons here. The first one is to maintain mission capability of its strategic asset, okay, for national defense, right? And at the same time, reduce cost of ownership and prolong service life of rising number of aging aircraft. Even though we have 270 more aircraft or assets, not all in good condition. So it requires servicing, upgrading, to maintain the aging asset, which of course the number one is avionics upgrades. We have done for our Russian-based aircraft as well as the UK-based aircraft, the Hawk aircraft. And the third one is to adapt defense systems in accordance with the country's needs and priorities. And of course, achieving long-term goal of becoming supplier of advanced system. These are related to enhancing Malaysia's local content in integration and upgrades of strategic asset. Looking into the experience of MH370, probably most of you are really aware of what's going on. If you are not, probably it's best for you to just to look back on the what really happened and what are the reason behind the incident of MH370 that require Malaysia to keep pace with the development of air traffic management system, which is planned under ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization's Air Navigation Block Upgrades until 2028. Alright, so ICAO has already provided all nations, including Malaysia, under their Global Navigation Plan 2014-2016, right? There is an upgrade that need to be done by all countries in the world under ICAO, where we have to upgrade our air traffic management system. Okay, so of course, our approach previously where we just outright purchase of air traffic control system from foreign country may not enable Malaysia to fully understand how we control our own aerodrome, our own aerodrome. So like what we had previously, we just buy the complete system. So our engineers are not really well versed with the system. Anything happen to the system, we need to call back the suppliers. So that is a bit unfortunate for a country like Malaysia. Looking into the market, since the system integration market will be mainly domestic, right? 2030 target for system integration will be based on value of local content, in terms of the local industry can provide. Okay, so whilst government must continue to invest in research and technology (R&T), as well as strategic capability development program, the success of increasing system integration local content will be achieved provided the following contracts are awarded to local companies. For example, like avionics upgrade for our military assets need to be provided to local companies. We cannot just keep on providing contracts to foreign suppliers. Okay, and then acquisition of the ATC and air defense system for civil and military has to be contracted or at least partner with our Malaysian companies. Acquisition of flight ATC and maintenance of simulators also has to be given to local companies, not just simply for the past 60 years. Since 1957, we are keep on giving contracts to foreign players. All right. So the Malaysian counterpart are getting richer, but there's no technology transfer. All right. UAV services, okay, contracts also has to be established and is already done by the CAM, and later we are going to have hopefully we're going to get one person from CAM to provide the latest development under the UAS or unmanned aerial system regulation. Okay. It is expected that the development expenditure for aerospace and defense in the 11 Malaysia plan provide sufficient domestic market for local players to prepare for bigger regional market, right? So if we can see here imports by type of defense equipment, for this is for the whole world under sourced by ICF International in terms of military aircraft, naval ship, missile, armored vehicle and other. Okay, so the military aircraft is 40% of the market. Looking into the Southeast Asia status is now among the top defense spenders. So defense related imports 5.2 billion, up 20% compared to 2012 status, and Malaysia is contributing 12% for the Southeast Asia defense equipment trade. All right. Going into the fifth subsector, okay, the training and education. So we have Malaysia, which is currently leading in terms of number of skilled workforce produced for aerospace industry. So since 1997, we are number one. Until now, we are still number one producing aerospace-related workforce. But why Singapore is more? Because our workforce are going there. The industry in Singapore are more lucrative. They paid in Singapore dollar, so that's why our graduates is going there. This it is okay and it is healthy, because we want to grow the region. So according to Boeing, Southeast Asia region will see 7% year-on-year growth for graduates and 5% for technician by 2032. So you do not have to worry in terms of where are you going to work. Okay, in whether are you going to work in Malaysia or you're going to work in Singapore or you're going to work elsewhere in the world, because aerospace industry is a global industry. So maybe one day when you enter the industry, you are working in Sepang, but the next day, maybe after a couple of months, you will be sent to Toulouse in France, for example, for training. Maybe you will be stationed there for a couple of years and then being sent to Australia for another couple of years. So you are going to become a global workers and not just for Malaysia. So with the opening of ASEAN, okay, the market size for Malaysia's aerospace training and education providers is relatively big. If we can see here, we Southeast Asia are producing around nearly 4,000 workers for in aerospace industry. So looking at Malaysia alone, we are already surpassing or reaching 2,000 packs. Of course, this is including the blue collars. If you are talking about aerospace engineer, we are roughly around 120 to 150 numbers per year. We only have UPM, Universiti Putra Malaysia, we have Universiti Science Malaysia, Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia, or International Islamic University Malaysia, producing the aerospace graduates. Of course, we have aeronautics by University Technology, and we have other players like UTHM, UniKL, and other players that are producing the blue collar skilled workers. Compared to other countries, that not that many. Even though their industry is big, like Thailand, Indonesia. Of course, Vietnam is there, but there aren't any aerospace related program. It's already started in Ho Chi Minh City, University of Technology. Okay, we have a contact there. So, but not that many graduates yet. So the major player is Malaysia, and a lot of the workers, when they already having sufficient experience, they will move on to other neighboring countries or to the world. All right. So as noted here, Malaysia is already exporting its engineers and technicians to aerospace companies in Singapore. If you can see that, actually you have many contacts for your alumni, for those who would like to go and work in Singapore. Of course, you need to be very good. There are interviews online, and every year we have our alumni working outside Malaysia already. Okay, the suppliers, the providers, or what we can say the players for training and education, we can say that in Malaysia we have the most, too fast, right? So like, of course, higher learning institution, we have also technical training academy, and the majority are in Malaysia. We also have counterparts in Singapore, same as Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. All right. So with that, that is the end of our first part of lecture.